So it seems that China is ready to invade Taiwan. Says so China. Folks, welcome to the channel.
China's military said today it's ready to fight after completing 3 days of large-scale war games that simulated the blockade of Taiwan. The island is self-governed, but China claims it as its own.
Correct.
CBS's Elizabeth Palmer reports the drills were a message to the U.S.
And a massive drill.
Shows the extent of the exercises, both human and hardware, including for the first time an aircraft carrier, the Shandong, as well as nuclear-capable bombers. Today's live fire drills rehearsed a blockade of Taiwan, and as this Chinese animation shows, strikes against specific targets on the island.
Chinese animation.
In Beijing, the foreign ministry spokesman said the exercises were a serious warning to Taiwan's separatists and what he called external forces. That is, the U.S. and its allies. Specifically, their retaliation for the meeting in L.A. between President Tsai Ing-wen, who insists Taiwan will remain independent, and Speaker Kevin McCarthy.
I mean, we've reached a point where China feels it has a right to retaliate because a political leader, a president, visits another country. They have the right to use military force and invade. You know, this is what happens when you let these thugs get away with it. Just like with Russia and Ukraine, when you let these commie dictators get away with invading neighboring nations, it sends a wrong message. Now you're seeing it with China.
Who signaled the U.S. would help protect it from China.
We will honor our obligations and reiterate our commitment to our shared values, behind which all Americans are united.
To the Taiwanese taking a break on Taipei's...
Anyway, you get the point. I don't know about those obligations. I don't think it's right. Let me know in the comments. Taiwan is not a member of NATO, right? So how much the United States will get involved or not? Well, the thing is, at a point, you have to do something. Either you're top dog or you're not. You can't say you're top dog in terms of military force and who controls things in an international level and just, look the other way when China, Russia start invading other countries. I mean, you can to a certain point, but eventually you get to this point where evidently power is shifting from the West towards the East, mostly China. Now, there's a big difference between Russia, which is like your crazy, drunk, violent uncle or distant cousin or whatnot that you never want to invite for Christmas, and China. China is a lot more powerful, a lot more organized, a lot more cool-headed, and it hasn't got the level of, disastrous organization on a local scale and in terms of how they deploy their forces that obviously Russia has. It would be a lot more difficult to face a threat from China, but you're looking at it right now. I thought this was interesting. This is from the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. Anyway, it has a few good points regarding, and you can look this up yourselves, how we would know when China's preparing to invade. Well, this is already, ancient history. This is from 2022, October 2022, and many of these things have already happened. But one of those final steps is, you see the military action actually taking place. And, there's also the United States responding with exercises of their own with Philippines.
The US and the Philippines are holding their largest ever joint military drills a day after China concluded large-scale exercises around Taiwan. Beijing simulated attacks on Taiwan in response to the island's leader meeting the US House Speaker last week. Plans for the joint exercises between the US and the Philippines predated China's activities, but won't do anything to calm already simmering tensions in the region. Our correspondent Shaima Khalil has more details.
Security personnel will remain in their post. They will continue to defend the nation. That's what the Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen has said. And even though China...
Anyway, you get the point. Now, this is something that, let's give credit where it's due. This is not being hidden. This is not something that you're not aware of. It's maybe not put front, and first there in the media, but it's something that's already being discussed openly. And, not many other ways to go about this because this is all quite visible. So checking on the different media outlets, yes, your BBCs and your CNNs and and your main media outlets do mention it, not giving much more important than basically covering it. But remember, it's not that different from when Russia was right in the border doing their exercises and saying themselves that they were not ready to fight or invade or do anything. Of course, lying as expected. But in this case, the Chinese are kind of pretty honest about it in terms of, we're ready to fight. Okay, what else should we do then now? Anyway, guys, I think it's important to be aware of what's going on. You may have your opinions on who should get involved with what. Should U.S. defend Taiwan or not? I mean, it's not U.S. territory, so why should they? Should the international community just look the other way or not? Or is it true that you cannot have bullies and dictators get away with doing these things? And yes, there's always like a gray area in terms of, you don't want to make things worse. You don't want to escalate, especially not among nuclear powers. And then again, how far can you let things go, slide up until the point in where, yeah, you've been replaced, and least of all by China and Russia. Anyway, guys, that's going to be all for now. Let me know what you think in the comment below. See you next time. Take care.